Imagine, digging somewhere remote and finding something. Well, something that just completely flips your understanding of history. That's kind of the journey we're taking today. We're digging into the sources you sent with a really baffling discovery. We're talking a Nazi-era briefcase and some incredibly strange skulls, almost alien-like, some people said, found deep in caves in Russia's Caucasus region, not Buloy specifically. The lead explorer was Vladimir Melikov. So our mission here is to unpack all these weird details and wrestle with the questions they raise.
And right off the bat, what's really striking is that briefcase. It wasn't just any old case, was it? It had the NRB emblem. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, this group was founded by Himmler, Heinrich Himmler, back in 1935. Officially, yeah, their job was finding proof, archaeological proof for the whole Aryan supremacy ideology. But they got into some really bizarre stuff too. I mean, deep dives into occultism, the paranormal, pseudoscience. There were even rumors about UFOs, weird weapons research, all driven by Himmler's, well, his own very strange obsessions. So finding their logo there in such a remote spot, it sets a really ominous, intriguing scene for everything else.
Yeah, ominous is right. And if that briefcase doesn't grab you, well, what they found with it definitely should. Melikov's team apparently found two skulls that are just hard to explain easily. He actually called them alien-like.
What was so odd? Well, reports say they had no cranial vault, the top part of the skull, and no jaws either, plus these huge, unusually large eye sockets. Melikov actually said, and I'm quoting here loosely, that even next to a bear skull, you'd think you were holding alien remains. Yeah, it makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
It really does, but it also brings up that essential point about scientific skepticism. Because apparently when photos of these skulls got shown to paleontologists back in Moscow, the reaction was, well, pretty dismissive. They basically suggested the weird shape might just be from being buried in sand for a long, long time. Erosion and pressure could maybe change the shape. And this kind of clash, it's important. Extraordinary claims versus, let's say, more mundane explanations. It reminds you always need solid proof. Absolutely, that skepticism is crucial. You can't just jump to conclusions. But then other things have been found in that same area. It sort of adds layers to the whole mystery. There were reports in Russian newspapers, I think, about other German items found nearby, like just last summer, apparently, some Edelweiss hunters named after the WWII German mountain troops emblem, right?
Right, the Edelweiss flower.
They supposedly found a second briefcase, same NRB logo. This one, they think, belonged to a soldier from that Edelweiss division. It was found with a ring, too, showing a soldier in a mountain cap, Nazi uniform.
And if you broaden the view a bit, think back to 2014. There were reports then, too, from locals in the same region. They apparently stumbled upon a burial site, German infantry. The thinking was they were killed in an avalanche maybe decades earlier. So these mountains, they're not just holding one strange find. There's this whole complex history woven into them. Wartime presence, unexplained stuff. It makes these newer finds even more, well, intriguing.
So with all that going on, the history, the skepticism, these multiple finds, where are the original artifacts now? The first briefcase and those really strange skulls. Well, the latest we hear is they're being stored in an archaeological complex. Beloved, I think it's called, a place that handles historical artifacts.
Yeah, but the thing is, and a lot of experts are saying this, there's a real pressing need for more study. Proper scientific study on these specific items. There's a concern, a genuine worry that without that kind of unbiased examination, they might just disappear, vanish from public view, or we'll just never really know what they are.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we're kind of left hanging with this central puzzle, aren't we? Do these incredibly weird skulls really point to something like Nazi contact with aliens? Maybe as part of their, search for weird knowledge? Or is there a more down-to-earth explanation that just hasn't been proven yet? What really jumps out at you when you hear all this?
And maybe think beyond just the aliens are not question. Consider this. The fact that the NRB even existed. This state-sponsored chase for pseudoscience and occult ideas by the Nazis. What does that, and finding their traces in places like this, tell us about how far some groups will go to confirm their own worldview, no matter how irrational or strange it seems? It's something to think about, that weird line between obsession, history, and things we just can't easily explain.